And the dragon getting very, very low. It's just dead. It's going to go down. And yes, some of the mobs have fallen down, but the fire is burning everything. All the fiends go down, and that's 500, 500 down the drain. In the upper right, in the red, he's the Vanguard player, taking down Probe 2-0 to get here. It's Mixu. And the bottom left, in the blue, he's the Infernal player. Open up Conclave Expand. It's Highdra. It's actually pretty interesting. We talk about seeing this Conclave Expand. I would argue, and if you talk to some Infernal players, they're going to say the same thing. Not all of them. But this Conclave Expand is out of date. It's not been solved necessarily, but it is a little bit out of date. Because of the Lancer builds that Kiwi introduced into the meta. You open up Conclave, and Conclave gone, right? You send the imp down to the low ground, you take your natural kind of quickly like that. You open up Conclave gone, and then you go take your natural, then you get your second Conclave. This is great against a lot of things. It allows you to creep pretty nicely. It's just so annoying, denying the natural even longer. Eventually the scout, there we go, it's going to go down. And one of the nice things about Stormgate is that this area is kind of where you can take it, and also sorry for the edge man, this area as well. You can do both. All right, you can go and take both sides, and that's great. It means that blocking the expo is a little harder. Granted, scouts are still really fast, they can still block. So anyways, point being, oh, this is an adaptation. This is pretty cool. So this is still Conclave Expand, but it's not going to go into a second Conclave. There will be a vault, there will be brutes. This is Highdra playing a little bit safer, making sure he gets gaunts early to start to creep and kite, and that's all very nice. But in the main base, well, this is just going to be command post first. You use the single scout to go and be aggressive, to get vision, to harass your opponent, to kind of keep them back. And with these Conclave Expands anyways, you're not going to have a ton of units at first, and you want to wait until you got like 4 gaunts to go take the resource camps in the middle, maybe 5, to make sure you kill them quickly enough and make sure you don't take too much damage on them. Yeah, this is the wrong overlay. It's not Probe and Mixu. Oh, there we go. Now it should be fixed. Now the overlay should be good. There we go. I forgot to save the document. I made the edit, and then I forgot to save the document. It's Highdra Mixu, obviously. This is game 1, best of 5, 0-0 there. I'm just bad at the video game, or bad at producing the video game. There we go. Okay, so for now, a bunch of gaunts on the right side. They're not in the middle, and of course, taking these goats is a lot easier. Or taking these Serals is a lot easier than taking the middle of the map at first without something to tank for it. So, speed camp's down. Scouts are being annoying, and look at this. This is double factory bow kinetic slap. Very quick kinetic redirection is going to be on the way. And again, this is what I was talking about, where opening up Conclave Expand is really nice for creeping. It is really nice for establishing some map pressure. The problem is, if you don't get that vault, the double Lancer opener is going to cause a whole host of problems. So, Conclave, Shrine, Vault. Getting these brutes out, having those tanky boys that really make a big difference. And now there's a third base on the way. So this is Highdra, actually. This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool right now, because this is an adaptation to the meta. It is still allowing the kind of greedy openers. This scout is not going to go down. Fiends die. Fiends die. People die. Everything dies. But wolves are forever. Or one of those really silly, like, my 5-year-old told me this the other day, and look at his, and he's so precocious. He used the word precocious. My little kitty, my little bundle of joy told me that he was precocious today. And there was that. I do love, by the way, that the Stormgate, the one thing that Stormgate has done better than any other game is it has given people an opportunity to beat Serral. We had the 2 Serral camps on either side of the map, and they get killed, they get taken down multiple times in any given day, in any given game. So this means that Highdra, Mixu, actually have a shot. They can actually go and beat Serral in a way that they this is not nothing against them. No one, I mean, Serral he went 21 in Katowice. Very, very good. They have beaten Serral in a way that they can't do in StarCraft. It works. It's a gift. It's a gift that Monk has provided our Stormgate players. It means I have a shot at beating Serral, technically. Anyways. Gaunt draw or Gaunt and Brute drop on the other side. And I really do like the Gaunt Brute idea. You put them together like this. Because what this does is, unlike your standard 8 Gaunt drop, is man, the Lancers are like, I'm gonna attack. This is fine. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna get him. They're not gonna get him. As ooh, there we go. We're gonna start to see some damage done now. The way you want to make sure that things go down, first of all, you overcharge, and that's 100. It's 50% damage reduction. It's like 48% or something, because it's not exactly linear. But you do that, and then you just put all the units on hold position, and then you make them repair. And then that means they're not like all repairing one unit. They're just repairing whatever units near them. As ooh, an Exo falls, and Exos are worth killing. They're pretty expensive. So for the Brute right there, this drop is actually finding a decent amount of value. Meanwhile, Lancers on the other side, well, it's gonna have to be a recall going on back, and a bunch of Gaunts go down very quickly. These Lancers as well, they're low, but they're starting to build that veterancy. And hey, guess what? Healing camp right there. Did I know that Sarah even voice acted the goat camps? You know what? I'll believe that. The goats, they're buying, and their complaints and their death sounds, they sound distinctly Finnish. So I'll buy that. Absolutely. It makes sense. And yeah, behind this is going to be a flame imp timing coming out of Highdra. You don't get the ritual shrine just for a weaver, for weavers all that quickly. It's just not really a thing. And the question I guess I ask myself now, so the parting build, when he goes Conclave expand, Conclave, Shrine Conclave, he's sitting with his timing, with his drop. This drop was a little bit later. Parting runs on the map 330. He gets it actually absurdly fast. But with the Flaming Imps, with this idea, that hits at 7 minutes technically. That's the default parting build. And of course, we saw Theory doing it yesterday, and he was about a minute slower, a minute and a half slower. But that was also because the opening was pretty different. He opened 1-1 expand. He opened Shrine Conclave expand on the low ground instead of Shrine first, or Shrine after the Conclave. So it's a little slower. Your economy doesn't scale quite as quickly. But I would assume this is going to be for Flaming Imps. This is not, you're not rushing this for Weavers. But 11 Shady, you say you wish they'd made StarCraft 3 instead of leaving it and making this. The problem is that Blizzard was never going to make StarCraft 3. In fact, rumors here, I don't know if this was ever confirmed or not, I can't remember, but like the rumors at the very least was that Blizzard told a bunch of people that wanted to make StarCraft 3. And, ooh, Flaming Imps coming in from a really weird angle. There we go. 9 workers go down. Very, very nice there, Highdra. So I kind of expected to see the worker attack, but instead it's just going to be worker harass. Meanwhile, 4th base on the way. Lancers are getting a ton there. There has to be a reaction. It's a little bit slow, but I think the base still gets saved. Maybe. Gaunts are actually a little bit exposed. Weavers are going to pop out. So I said this is not going to be for Weavers. Apparently it is. There we go. Abduct on top. But now Lancer's just going to dive these Gaunts and run away. It's like, okay, well, this is fine. I'm not going to die really quickly at all. Gaunts are just dying. And again, with these Lancers as strong as they are, there's not going to be a ton. Now the Bio Ball starts to arrive. And yes, the economy has been hindered pretty significantly. But this army's hard to stop. All the upgrades are here. No, granted, there are a bunch of flaming imps. That was not expected in the slightest. Everything goes down. The Extras are still there, but all the Lancers that have been built up over the last 5 minutes are totally gone. Now, cutting back into the healing camp is nice, but they will be trapped into a corner. Fiend's getting on top of this as well, and this is a little bit awkward. Yes, there is a shield that keeps things alive, but only one of them. It's not the high veterancy one either. Abducts on these Fiends as well, and yeah, this is looking pretty rough for Highdra at the moment, but he brings it back. Yeah, Weavers do pretty well against Lancers. They're not great against Exos because Exos just have 180 odd HP. Lancers have a little bit more. What are they? What's the max HP? 150 HP, not 180. So there is that. But I think in general, oh, look at this very quick Sentinel coming out. By the way, we need to talk about this because I saw it, but there's a fight that was happening. Hydra's taken his opponent's north side base. This is a very interesting expansion pattern. He's, I guess, technically trying to split the map vertically, but not really because he's got this base down here as well, which is off center, by the way. You want it normal. You want it fully vertical, so it's a little bit awkward. So Mafia says lanky boys the Weavers are so cool. I've been watching them for a while. I still have no idea what they do. Weavers are you're right. Weavers are by far my favorite designers. Look at this imp run by, just setting it up. The imps into the Nashor. Flame on, boys. Let's go. Is Mixu paying attention? He is. He's going to pull away. A couple Bobs trying to soak the shots. All the Bobs are going to run. Really no damage there. So Weavers are pretty cool. First, they're thematically my favorite unit. But they're weird in that they do... Every auto attack they do does 10% damage to a unit. 10% of a unit's max HP to that unit. 5% to structures. Not a lot of damage from that run by either. So they do that, right? As the Atla drops are starting to commence. Against their Lash, that pull unit, that pull ability does 20% of a unit's max HP. So we see the Atlas, 20% loss. They're very good against big tanky units. They're not very good against small. They're not good against an Exo, because if you look at it, like a level 1 Exo, 150 HP, a level 3 Exo, 240 HP. It's getting a little bit better there. But against low units, you want high base damage. Against high HP units, this percentage based works just a little bit better. They can also consume every 5 seconds. They can eat a Fellhog, they can eat a Fiend, and gain all of their white health back. But this siege coming on out. And by the way, I love that Mixu has gone and gotten a Sentinel so early. He's like the only one that does it. And by the way, this is a mistake right here. These imps are not going to get anything. And that's an entire Luminite line exploded all at once. And ideally, you send a couple to maybe force things out, but that is a massive expenditure right now. More are going to go down, but like at this point, there are only 3 of them. You target them down, very easily tap them down. And with these Atlas drops as well, they're just getting damage done just about everywhere. Mixu is really starting to really take map control. But now the X is on the right side. Now, unfortunately, the Atlas is starting down this Rocket Deer. That's actually the Rocket Deer is gonna kill the Atlas. So that really takes a lot of power, this push on the right side. Also, so Skyriders, talk about them. They do some pretty cool stuff too. They have an auto attack, sure, fine. And when that auto attack hits, it reveals units for just a little bit. Where's the explosion? There it is. Okay, but there's an Atlas, so you just pick up, it's fine. And with the burn rate over time, yeah, not doing a ton. But Sentinels are pretty cool. So by default, they have this attack that goes and reveals things. Grants vision on the target, you know, area for 30 seconds. And they also have a little bit of a hate spot aura, so they make units run a little bit faster around them. They have a spell that they can cast that means you'll see a purple aura. It slows the units that it hits down. It slows down their attack speed. So it's really nice to take a lot of kind of damage potential. If you can get them on top of a Hellborn, it means they do significantly less damage. It messes with that quite a bit. So there we can see the slow. It decreases the vision radius as well, and also again makes them do less damage. So Sentinels adding a couple of these into the late game, I think, is a really explored idea that I think is actually really good. So now we're gonna see all the Exos. They're gonna kill this 4th base. Hydra still on the north side's got this base. Pops are like, wait a minute, what's up with that? Why is this here? They should be able to kill it. The army should be deputized eventually. I think Mixu might just win the game despite Hydra taking one of his bases. We're gonna see the Hellborns go down. That haste spot dispersal aura is doing a lot. They just run away from the flaming imps because again, they are just fast enough. But I think the Exos died anyways. Mixu maybe overcommitted just a little bit. And he will be forced out. Tiny. So he actually, you know, I didn't think the imps would get a ton of damage, and they didn't. But again, you overcommit just a tiny bit. The Sentinel's still here, doing a little bit more. Hey, Bob Golf. I'm glad that I'm so glad that you're like, no, it's not his casting that's good or whatever. No, it's his camera's really solid. But of course, we do have the Sentinel upgrade now available. So there's this damage mitigation, all range damage done to the units under this bubble, minimized by 50%. So again, you add this Sentinel in. I think it died. Where's the? Okay, Bob's on. Yeah, not crazy. That's where I expected it to be. Was there an attack elsewhere? Not here. Okay, so no attack elsewhere. Just trying to defend that. Wait. Yeah. Okay. So yes, I'm getting paranoid because you can't really see it on the minimap when it's happening. But the imps are just getting turned on to deny this bunker. Now there's the Shroudstone Manifest, and that's going to be a little bit annoying. His medtech gets low. Medtech gets very low. 1 HP remains. But now, well, we're going to see this start to go down. I feel like the Atlas damage over time shouldn't apply to buildings. That just feels weird to me. But anyway, on the left side, there are a couple Weavers. Of course, there's this one Hellborn, but now Sentinels more on the field. We're going to see the bubble. There's a proper term for it, but the damage bubble is going to apply, which means the Hellborn are not going to be nearly as effective, except he dives out of it anyways, and just dives on top of the army because there's not a lot here. It's the imps, the only thing that are staying alive. They're going to connect on top of 2 Lancers, which is not enough. And Hydra, he will fall. Game 1 is going to go the way of Mixu. But right, he took some damage, but certainly clawed it all the way back on this advantage that he has, going for... Oh, he's so smart. Anyways, it's Mixu. He's going for command post first, and it is going to be a Conclave expand from our player in the bottom left. He's in the blue. It's Highdra. As of course we have Theory in the chat, scouting out who's going to go. And what his potential opponent's going to play. If he gets Mixu, he wants to make sure that he knows what Mixu's going to happen. So Theory is effectively stream cheating right now. Not really. But we're gonna make fun of him anyways. Of course, I actually really like this map as an Infernal player, not for any reason about balance, but because there are things for the scouts to do. I don't have a scout harassing my Therium line from like 30 seconds until a minute 30. The period of time where I have to like defend against the scout harass is so much slower. It's great. I love it. It's so much better. Again, golf. You say golf is the only sport you can actually improve as you get older. I mean, there's a reason that there is the senior PGA and the PGA, right? Because you know, like for the layperson can get better at any sport as they age. At the pro level, of course, though, you kind of run into issues. Certainly, like an 80-year-old golfer, for the most part, is not going to be as good as a 30-year-old golfer. You can't drive. You don't have as much strength. You cannot drive the ball as far. You're not going to be as flexible, so you're not going to have as much whip on your swing. But anyways, third base coming down before the 3-minute mark. Ooh, this is fast from Theory. Well, it depends, Bomb again, golf. And again, this is for the layperson. Like if I go play pickup soccer, you know, I play pickup ultimate, and there are some 60-year-old men that go play that are better than most of us. Because fun fact, actually, so this is more for distance numbers than like speed, but it's actually kind of cool. As we're gonna see, Hydra's gonna go creep this camp as well as he's taking the third base. But so your marathon numbers, like if someone's running a marathon, their marathon numbers hit the peak at like age 27, but they start like to go to really improve from like 19 to 27. And then it is a very slow fall off from like age 27 or so, I think it is, maybe a little younger, to about 70 something. And then it starts to fall off a little bit more. But if someone stays in shape and keeps themselves active and whatever, your metabolism is pretty much constant from like when you're in your 20s up until you're like in your 70s. And you're fit, like, and your distance running, as long as you keep yourself in shape and don't get injured, obviously those are different things. Your distance speed will be pretty consistent up that entire length. And look at this, we got a Hedgehog build coming out of Mixu in game number 2, and he's gonna get on top of a couple of these Gaunts. Now Gaunts are technically the answer to Hedgehogs a little bit. Oh, the speed fiends trying to get on top of things, but even with the speed boost and even with the buff that they got, they're not knocking anything down. They got one Hedgehog, but look at this micro. Oh, they're gonna get a second Hedgehog. Never mind. So this Hedgehog, like Hedgehogs were buffed, but I still don't think they're all that great. Wait, no, it is interesting. Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right, Bomb again. That Americans, we do tend to live a more sedentary lifestyle as we grow up. And I wouldn't even say it's lazy, honestly. It's more that like you're gonna go work a job. You're gonna be in an office all day. We have a very non-walkable setup. Ooh, Hedgehog's diving on top of Gaunts, getting a couple more right now. Oh, Miss Micro though, and 2 more. They should burn. They should infest down. 28 HP. 28 HP is barely enough to stay alive on this, actually. Barely enough to stay alive. They should live on 5 or 2 or something. Yeah, it's 2 HP. Well, he's got the math done. That is absolutely true. Bomb again, I'm not even touching that, but that is not remotely correct. That is not remotely correct. But yeah, no, talking about Kiwitaki saying that Hedgehogs are the worst unit of the game. Spriggans actually arguably are maybe worse. Hedgehog, oh, look at this. Oh, he's gonna find the drop, and this is why you go this, by the way, just like totally deny the drop. Although I do, you know, I think it probably would be good for Hedgehogs to be able to go. I assume your argument, Bomb again, is that we pay people more Wait, is this a welfare argument, or is this a, well, the people, the higher up a job you get, like CEOs tend to do less work than people that are working on the line? Okay, if this is a healthcare argument, no, absolutely not. If this is a, well, again, the higher quality of a job you go, like the less work you tend to do on a daily basis, oh, sure, I'll buy that one. Bomb again. We're talking about Stormgate here, please, but like, you're just not right. Anyway. The drop though is going to be a bit annoying, and the Hedgehogs are like, they're here and they're defending things as well as they can. But the trick is, because the guns are on the ground, you can't really convert to anti-air mode. So we're gonna have a couple here, and the drop's gonna be cleaned up for the most part. And well, guns are gonna go down. Yeah. Yeah. We're not, I'm happy to talk about this out of game, but oh, Hedgehogs are going to catch this Mixu. Is he paying attention? Just not quite. I wonder if it makes sense to go and actually get the upgrade and just really deny things, but I don't think so. Now, Mixu is a big fan of Hedgehogs. In fact, I saw him do some pretty cool stuff against a late game Infernal player at one point, where he picked up I think it was like 8 Hedgehogs and 2 evacs. I want to call them like medtechs because medevacs. Anyways, and he went and he hot dropped on top of a dragon, and I knocked it down, and it was super cool. But other value that Hedgehogs have, they're kind of like Cyclones from StarCraft 2 a little bit, where they burst buildings down as well. So the drop's going to be forced back once again. And behind this, we got double mech bay. We got a mech lab here, or a machine lab, excuse me, here as well. And we're going mech. Mech on this map can be very, very good, because mech requires a ton of therium. So we're going to see the therium refinery go down right here, middle of the map, as well as eventually going to get mined out. We can see that happen. If Mixu can take the middle of the map, he's going to be in a very strong position. But this Gaunt Hellborn push with a couple brutes is kind of a scary spot. Hellborn, they burst a ton of stuff down. They're very chunky. But there we go, middle of the map right here, and it doesn't really seem like Hydra's aware of this just yet. But now we got this spot open as well, and again, this is where it gets interesting. You move the Hedgehogs forward, they take a ton of damage from the Hellborn, so that makes life a little bit hard. But what Mixu's doing here is he's buying space, right? He's buying distraction by having, you know, there are 2 Luminite patches, 2 Therium patches, and again, you're buying a little bit of space. So Hedgehogs are going to dive on. Oh, this is so nice. They're going to get 2 Hellborn. Notice Mixu splits his attack, so he makes sure that both of them go down. That is 500 Therium down the drain. And yes, the Gaunts are technically good against the Hedgehogs because they don't take bonus damage and whatever, but this is all buying space. This is getting set up here in the middle of the map. This is starting to really benefit from the double Therium, the double Luminite, as Mixu, again, is starting to develop himself a little bit more, building into the Sentinels very early. Mixu builds Sentinels quicker than anyone else. Super cool. And I think Sentinels are just, I think they're good. I think they are underutilized, really, in this game that we call Stormgate. Is now Hedgehogs on the left side are going to dive on top of a couple of these Redstones. And yes, they do, of course. They only have 4 shots, and they have to kind of regenerate back and forth. And that is annoying, as it seems like some of these units are going to get infested, but not all of them. Now, you got to be careful about friendly fire just a little bit. Some of the Lancers get exploded, but oh, what a shot. It's all going to go down. All the Gaunts are going to die. Oh, no, Highdra. Those are some massive Atlas shots, and they have the upgrade as well. So now, here we go. Hedgehogs trying to get on top of these Hellborn, and they do take some beefy shots, but the Gaunts don't do any damage right now. Because of that shot, another Hellborn will fall. And again, the economy in the middle of the map. And this is pretty cool as well, because we saw, who was it? Someone played mech yesterday, and it wasn't Mixu. Maybe it was Probe on this map, and it wasn't Hedgehogs. It was Hornets into this, and then it was mass kind of Atlas Vulcan, and with medtechs again for the nanoswarm on the Vulcans, and just very, very hard to deal with. What is that? I don't know what that I don't know what that effect modifier is, but anyway, it's gone now. as we're going to see, again, big shots from these Atlases. They go forward on top of the Gaunts. The splits are not incredible, and now with the Vulcans as well. And this is a hard position to fight into. The next thing that you're missing, really, is medtechs, right? Because you do want to be able to heal up these, not the Hedgehogs as much, but you want to be able to heal up the Vulcans, the Sentinel, the evac, if that's what you want to do. So give yourself a little bit more opportunity. But of course, here's the thing. What is giving? Oh wait, maybe, I don't know. I was wondering, like, what is giving vision to be able to hit that sentry post? Because of course, if a unit is hitting you, if a unit is hitting you, you have vision of it. We're going to see that shot go down, so the Hellborn just do 25% less damage. So they do 12.5 less damage, right? 50 damage, 25% less. While that purple glow is on top of them. But so anyway, the way vision works in Stormgate is if something's hitting you, you have vision of it, you can fire back. And I'm curious what was giving the sentry post a vision of. Oh, never mind. That's what that thing was. Okay, that makes sense. I talked about this earlier. So Sentinels, when they hit something with the auto attack, it gives vision of the unit and everything in a 30 radius around it. And I didn't realize what the dot was. That little yellow dot is, I guess, the revealed dot, something like that. But yeah, Highdra is eating tank shots in a way that he really doesn't want to. So 5th base goes down, or really 6th base goes down. 7th base, 6th base. There we go. 6th base of Mixu goes down as Highdra on the right side tries to just rotate around from where the mech army is, because again, this army is a little slower, but you got you got evacs, and you can drop on top. The Hellborn, of course, they do a lot of damage, but you can drop a shield on top of things. The Hedgehogs are going to run forward. There's not a lot remaining to this army, and now six Atlases on top of everything. The ground is burning. The Atlases are burning themselves, which is not optimal. But Hydra's just, his army is expensive. His army keeps getting reset just a little bit. This triple evac drop runs forward, and what we're lacking right now is Shadow Flyers. That's kind of, I mean, there are Shadow Flyers now, and gonna get some damage done to this Sentinel, but of course it's ranked too. It's got 40 more HP and 10% more damage as well, because the attack of a Sentinel is very, very important. We cannot forget the attack of the Sentinel. Poriforian asks, how well can you split against the Hellborn ability? Somewhat. It's weird because you don't split against the Hellborn ability in the same way that you split against, ooh, the mines. Oh, no, Sentinel's dead anyways. Unfortunate. Not quite enough damage from these mines. And actually, this position, well, that's why I was like, wait a minute, where's the Vanguard army? And that is killing a base and denying a ton of mining. So yes, there is a siege from these Hellborn. It's going to get on top of some of these Vulcans, and this one's going to go down right now. But this Exo drop, or this Atlas drop, is a bit of a struggle. Now, Shadow Flyers are going to try to knock things down. You got to drop this. They're the same speed. So eventually these Exo or these evacs will die. The trick is you got to drop them before that happens. So it seems like the Atlas get out. That's fine. Sky mines are, fun fact, by the way, talking about sky mines. Originally, last patch I think it was, sky mines spawned Fiend, and that was very, very wild. It was really weird. As we see, these Atlas shots are pretty good, but the Atlases are starting to go down. So that Magmadon getting on top of things being pretty obnoxious until the rest of the damage is there. But again, these Fiends that are spawning and getting on top of these Atlases are getting a lot of damage done. But the Hellborn are starting to soak in the flames. And the target firing, not great from Mixu, actually. I think you do want to target these Hellborn down, as another one will burn. But slowly, because Mixu's army is a bit out of position, he's lacking in Vulcans, I think. He just has these Atlases and the drops. And sure, they're fine. And the medtechs are slowly starting to get added in, but there's nothing to deal with the Shadow Flyers. There's absolute, the anti-air is here now, but it's not an anti-air mode. And I think Mixu might have just died. Like, I'm not confident. And I think the game goes on a little bit, but Mixu lost a lot of his army. And now, well, there's vision on the sentry post, so the Hellborn can shell away for that just a little bit. But the majority of the tech of Mixu's army has totally been reset. Could I imagine this situation with pre-nerf Shadow Flyers? No, it never would have gotten there. The Shadow Flyers would have killed everything. But now, of course, we do have the Hedgehogs in anti-air mode, which is good. You do need to be able to zone the Shadow Flyers out a little bit, and well, and tech is burning down. You got to be careful there. But it seems like the tech is starting to be repositioned just a little bit as Mixu runs forward. He got a lot of his. Oh no, that's a lot of Bobs because his main base is mined out. trying to take the north side, and well, there's another base right there. So the middle of the map has been taken by Mixu, but the side bases have been taken by our Infernal players. The main base is mined out. No, not for him, because he's fallen victim to that Infernal thing where you turn a bunch of your imps into other things and it gets a little awkward and your mining gets all messed up. God, these Atlas shots, they're so hard to fight into. But what we really need to see is, again, the range on top of the Hellborn. The Atlases they're not being manually targeted, they're just passively targeting. This is so wild. Look at all these sentry posts. One repair, a couple more. You're gonna try to fight against this the Mass Shroudstone and the Manifest. I'm pretty sure that the Shroudstones win this fight, but this is cute. This is pretty funny. Actually, you know, Offenbach, I know you're saying you're not a fan of the unsieged Atlas. I actually really like the Atlas animation on both sides, but now there's a dragon out, and do we have any Hedgehogs? Not in position. So there's not. I mean, look at this Hedgehog anti-air. Just all the white health gone immediately. That's why you get them. But we don't have any med techs available. Not med tech. We don't have any evacs available to drop on top of this. As the Sentinels starting to go down, Fiends are starting to swarm a little bit further forward. We need to see these Hedgehogs brought to the fray. The Dragon is just doing so much. There's a Hedgehog starting to well away these things actually, and the Dragon getting very, very low. It's just dead. It's gonna go down, and yes, some of the mobs have fallen down, but the fire is burning everything. All the Fiends go down, and that's 500 down the drain. But yeah, no, Private Chappie, I tend to agree. I think the unsieged Atlas is really cool. I think it's a better model. Personally, I like this is cool, but the unsieged one just looks better. Minus 500. Exact. I'm so glad. I mean, in StarCraft, we nerfed it. The meme has been nerfed, right? When because Mothership's only worth minus 300 right now. But in Stormgate, we have minus 500. We have minus 500. We have that meme as this command post will not go up, by the way. A little bit of Therium is going to get mined, but yeah, these mobs have to run. That being said, other side, this base also is going to get shut down. So it seems like Mixu is going to get upper left. Our Infernal player is going to get bottom right. Oh God, that hurts. Ow. I mean, the Hedgehogs are hurting too because they're in fire, but that is 8 dead imps very quickly. Yeah, it is interesting that all the Vanguard mechs have legs in some way, shape, or form. Even if they're Hedgehogs and like they don't really have legs, they have wheels, but their wheels have legs, which is funny because legged modalities are less efficient. As I get into I'm a roboticist here for just a second. Like, legs are not as efficient as wheels in most situations. Like if you're on rough terrain, legs can traverse rough terrain better than wheels can. But like for the most part, wheels are kind of much better. As there we go, we can see the mines kill the Shadow Flyers because there's just a lot less friction, right? Wheels can just be much more efficient. So, and tank treads deal with ground area pretty well. So it's just a little bit weird that we are in the far future and this optimality, right? We're developing this new tech. We're like, yeah, all of our mechs are going to have wheels. But Hydra's dead, by the way. I thought he might have broken through with the Dragon. It was not enough. Mixu, a little bit of a time. He was in a rough spot, but having that middle of the map for so long really has gotten him what he needs. And Mixu is now up 2. The upper right in the red, up 2 games to 0. Playing a pretty cool mech style in game number 2. It's Mixu. And the bottom left in the blue, down to, I mean, I thought he had really good shots in both game 1 and game 2, but it was not enough. Well, his name, of course, is Highdra. And it's, yep, 4 bobs on Therium right away, although going back down to 2. So if it's 4 bobs on Therium right away, this, of course, I was going to say this is going to be a Hornet opening, but it's not. In fact, barracks into mech bay immediately. So this is going to be a 1-base Hedgehog style, I think. Did Malef get 1 guide? Gyro James, are you talking about Guy in the chat? Yes, I got Guy in the chat, and it only lasted so long. But anyway, it's a scout open here. 2 scouts to maybe try to deal with them. Yeah, to get on top of this Gaunt pretty quickly. Now, Once the gun count gets a little higher, it's not as good, but actually it's going to be forced back here. And I think all, yeah, the food has already been taken down. The scout is going to be fine, by the way, and there's going to be healing blossom on the right side. So the dogs are going to get themselves back up, but yeah, gonna take some damage. It's going to be forced back just a little bit. And by the way, this is, so Highdra, in game 1, he went shrine, or he went conclave, shrine, vault. And I think he's going to do that again. That just makes sense. I don't think double conclave works out really well, but this is actually probably better for Mixu's opener compared to game number 1, because going hedgehogs like this, which I assume this is hedgehog. Actually, yeah, you need a mech bay. You need a machine lab for Vulcans anyways. Yeah, hedgehogs are going to pop out here. There's a lot of map control early on. First hedgehogs are out. Man, one's got to be out, but yeah, there it is. So hedgehogs are out on the map. Third base very quickly here from Highdra once again before the 3-minute mark, playing pretty greedy off this. This is just heavily oxygenated blood. Mafia saying that liquid in the Infernal Town Center is too bright to be blood. It's just heavily oxygenated, or it's just blood from another world, and Infernal blood has more iron in it than human blood does. I don't know. But anyway, Catapult's gonna, or not Catapult, wow. Hedgehog's gonna dive in. It's gonna get, hey, there's a free fiend. Yes, there is a tower there, so it's gonna slow things down just a little bit. But remember, this is only single mech bay, and actually the barracks get salvaged. You want to get the barracks so you can build the mech bay, and then you salvage it because you're not building anything out of the barracks. You don't need anything. And that just allows you to develop your economy just a little bit faster. So, of course, we're going to see the creeps get taken down, and these gaunts are a little, it's a decent army, actually. I don't think the hedgehogs are going to be in enough number to go and properly deal with this. So, that's going to be fine. 3 hedgehogs on the map. Certainly, this vision camp is dead very quickly if he decides to deal with it. Where does Mixu go from here? So he builds the barracks, salvages the barracks, gets 100% money back, because that's how that... It's so weird for Vanguard that if you salvage a building, you get 100% back. But if you cancel a building, you get 75% back. So it's better to, instead of cancel a building, it's better to let a building finish and then sell it than it is to go and do anything else. Very, very weird. It's not how, like, that mentally doesn't make any sense, but, you know, so it goes. 4-4, and I'm sorry. Yeah, like the whole not giving yourself enough time to heal is, or not being able to give yourself enough time to heal is just, oh, it's so rough. There's a reason that my right ankle is like a solid inch wider than my left. It's just permanently swollen because of really bad strain. I mean, a sprain is not an ACL tear, but it was during my senior capstone. I didn't have time to go and properly make it handled because I was, you know, trying to write my thesis, or graduate and do all that. So, like, yeah, it's a rough time. But for now, Catapults are going to try to dive in, get some free imps. And they do have an egress pattern, but they're going to... Ooh, this is awkward. This is awkward. I don't like this. Mixu, he doesn't really have anywhere to run. I think he dove left pretty early. He would have been fine, but instead, almost all the hedgehogs will die. This last one, it's got a shield on, but it's still going to go down. Yeah, no, this is not good. This was 8 dead. This was like all of Mixu's map control. It's totally gone now. No, Animus, so blood is blood, right? Jiao James is saying, I wonder if Animus is just a euphemism for blood that gets collected into the shrine. And Animus's life force is this amorphous energy that the Infernals are after. Blood is blood. Like, this is clearly a sacrificial altar right here, kind of. I don't think, so Animus is its own thing. Now, it may manifest as some bloody substance, but Animus is like its life energy. And that is why Infernals go and they go invade different worlds, because they use Animus to power all their stuff. And they find populated worlds to go take the powerful warriors and bring them onto their side, convert them, because that's why a Brute looks pretty different from a Gaunt, looks pretty different from a Fiend. Well, I guess Brutes and Fiends are kind of the same, but looks pretty different from a Flayed Dragon, for example, because they're from different worlds that have been conquered. So from that perspective, again, I don't think it's just the blood in the shrine. This is not even Mafia saying this is insider info. This is not even insider info. This is stuff that has been publicly talked about at certain points. I don't break private trust. This is going to be at some point. And we're going to learn more, certainly, once the campaign is out. I think they're going to have a first 3 missions during early access is the plan. We're going to learn more about the lore, obviously. But this is... they put out a newsletter last December, I think, and that's where all this kind of lore news came out. So, if you want more lore information, by the way, Stormgate Nexus, we got all coverage of everything that has been released thus far. So, exclamation mark Stormgate Nexus in the chat for that. And if you're watching this on YouTube later, I will put a link, I guess. I'll do my best to put a link, and if I remember, to go put it in the comments. But also StormgateNexus.com. Very easy. I'm a little worried about Mixu in this game, though. He lost a lot of those Hedgehogs, and yes, Hedgehogs are this excellent kiting unit, but much like Cyclones, the way you beat that is you put them in a corner and you don't give them room to run. We do have an Atlas here, and we do have, eventually, evacs are going to start to pop out. So, the question now is whether the timing has been missed. There are imps with this. This is a flaming imp timing. There's a couple. Oh, okay. Adding in the Weavers is a big deal. Let's look at this. Imps go forward, or Fiends go forward first. Soaks the Atlas shots. And now we're going to see more shots go down. Those are going to be really, really nice. Flaming imps are going to try to get on top. Things have to kite away. More shots. Everything has to get pulled. Hedgehogs are taking a lot of damage. Repair turret. Oh, it's going to get healed by the Rampart, so that's going to stay alive. And now Atlases are sitting back here. The Weavers are going to try to get their pulls, but the kiting is really good on these Atlases. And yes, we are going to see one of these mech bays is taking a lot of damage from the friendly fire. The Atlases, actually. And the Bobs have... Well, actually, no, they haven't really gone down. They've been kited away for the repair. The question now is just whether the Atlas shots are going to be good enough long enough. Whether Mixu can hold on, because, again, there's tons of Weavers and things. They're doing damage. Only 5% a shot, but still, that's 10% for 2 Weavers. They do kill buildings fairly quickly. And the entire natural of Mixu's in this horrendous spot. He continues to kite away. If the Atlases get abducted, they're dead. That's how it is. It's 30 damage pretty much off the top. 20 damage for the Atlas, or for the abducted, another 10 from the shot. So I think Mixu's dead here. Losing all those Hedgehogs early on, it just really hurt him. And the Weaver count's just, it's honestly too high. There's just not enough damage. There we go. There's the immediate lash. Will go down. And yeah, Mixu's dead. Highdra takes us to game 4. Game 3 in the upper right, going for a Conclave expand once again. Highdra. Bottom left, I'm going to assume a command post first, pretty quickly, into some sort of mech thing. It is Mixu. He's getting this Therium pretty quickly. Not 4 on Therium at the start, so. But he is, I assume, yeah, he's rallying onto it. I know he's rallying. I can see the line. I'm just blind. It's okay. Also, by the way, so I'm playing on, I generally play on 80% console, so I can see more of the screen. Is the minimap and everything, is that big enough for you all? Or would you prefer, like, does this need to be bigger? That's, let me know. Well, that makes sense, Chuck Rambos. Because every unit has... It's like what? It's like 12.5% of HP is your white health, and if it regenerates percent per second, then it's all going to take the exact same amount of time to regen. Is that just how that works? But okay, so it's gonna be a very cool. This is a scout opening coming out of Mixu in this game, number 4. And I don't think the scout opening is very good. It's just so delayed by now. Okay, fair enough. Saying that the minimap is a bit small, but like I could do something. Nah, it wouldn't look good. I could do something pretty fancy where I would like have 2 game captures and I would just have one that's cropped to just the minimap and expand it. But it would look really weird on the console. Look at the scouts. They're gonna... I say it's not very good, but the scouts are gonna get 2 gaunts. They're gonna knock these fiends down very quickly, and they're gonna steal a goat as well. They have taken a Cyril. This is very, very nice coming. You know what? I said I don't think it's very good, but because it's so out of the meta, if Highdra was not expecting it, hey, that's a pretty big deal. And now level 2 on the scout, so additional 20% damage, additional 48 HP. pretty nice. Although, again, Scout's pretty low, so you got to be careful on that one. Going to have to repair eventually, but yeah, this Routstone's going to go down. The Imp is going to fall here as well. Gets popped. Absolutely popped. And in the main base, they're going to go, and there's a Gaunt here. There are 2 Gaunts, and they're kind of in their safety zone, so diving into the main base is not really easy, but another Imp will fall, and just denying the natural is probably enough in and of itself. Yeah, no, Jiao James, I agree. Scout opening is very risky versus Gaunts. If you can catch the Gaunts in small numbers, it's really good. But once the Gaunts gets like 5 or 6, there's the splash damage means Scouts cannot survive. You got to catch stragglers. So Mixu got, I'm not even going to say very lucky, because he knew how the game was going to go. Like, this is the game plan, and he capitalized on it. So knocks the speed camp, knocks down a couple Gaunts. Now he's going to take the rest of the map, and this has paid off for him. Again, it's a little bit awkward, but it's absolutely paid off. And now Mech Bay on the way. He sold the biokinetics lab. He got the upgrades that he needed out of this. Unfortunately, Muon Neutrino, there's no way to just make the minimap bigger. Outside of kind of some weird, let me go and like have 2 game capture, or like have a game capture and copy it in or something. That's really rough. I don't know. I don't think that would look all that good. Yeah, the problem is like I can only do that once the game. It's I can probably do it, but yeah, it's a little painful in terms of making the player colors the colors. But third base on the way for Mixu is already done, so he's up in economy, he's up in tech, he's up in tempo. He's taking every creep camp on the map right now, every resource camp, and keeping the scouts is useful for pretty much the entire game. If there's a big Weaver push, well, scouts are actually really good against Weavers, which is wild. But they are. Look at this. Okay. This drop's trying to be annoying as much as it can. Gaunts are here, and Overcharge doesn't really seem to be available at the moment, but Scouts actually kind of handle this decently well if they can get... Well, it's 6 Gaunts, so it's not really incredible. And the Hedgehog, well, it's going to have to... It's taking a lot of damage. This Hedgehog's going to burn right on down. Bob's have to... No, okay, never mind. Bob's are going to repair it. But... yeah, the Scouts on top of this. I mean, it's a bunch of Lancers and Gaunts. This actually is pretty handy. Okay, so now that there's enough defense with the Overcharge, the Hedgehog can get damage done on top of it because it knows it can be safe, but drop into the main base. These Gaunts are pretty low, but they do have a decent amount of white health. And, well, these Bobs are not being repaired. They're not being overcharged, so that is a decent amount of Therium mining going down. Mixu is starting to take some damage from this. The Hedgehog does a little bit more. We're going to see Biokinetics Lab double barracks, so it's Hedgehog into Bio. 3 very different mech games that we've seen coming out of our Vanguard play in this game, but this drop is by far the most effective drop that Hydra's found pretty much this entire series. Yes, the Scouts are going to show up, and I would think the Scouts would actually be pretty solid against this, but not going to happen. And talking about this middle base, by the way, which we were trying to talk about, and the drop showed up. Wait, did he? Oh, wait, this is so cool. I just thought, I assumed that it had been mined out, and I didn't see it. The reason that this was only 6 or 7 Gaunts in the drop and not 8 is that the Doombringer had an imp inside of it. The Doombringer dropped an imp in the middle so we could have a totally secluded grove. So there was no world where Mixu would easily scout what's happening, and that means he should be able to get away with this. This is a pretty awesome adaptation, honestly, coming out of Mixu to make sure that he is, or that Hydra's coming back into this game, because again, he lost the map, he lost a couple Gaunts, his third base was slower. Like the tech and the tempo was just pretty bad for Highdra, but if he takes this base undetected by dropping on top of it, that is pretty cool. So now we have the drop getting ready. Hedgehogs are going to start to shell away this, and they do a ton of anti-air damage. So for now, the drop is just going to try to be annoying, keep Mixu back, and as long as he can keep this drop back and be annoying like this, it's less of a chance that a dog's going to be able to go and run by and see that something's happening right there on the vision detection. So on the pupper sense, there we go. Now the Hedgehogs, ooh, nice damage on this into the main base, though. I think it's going to go in reaction. Yeah, it's already on the way. There we go. With the Scouts right there, with the Hedgehogs, they're going to get damage done. 1 Gaunt goes down. Second one should fall pretty quickly. And now you just target this down. Hedgehogs are not quite enough in anti-air. Oh, pull 1 down. I was going to say, hey, he should be good. But there's going to be the recall. So it's going to get right on out. I wish we could see a vision, but yeah, there has been no Scout. of this middle base from Mixu, not just yet. And to be totally honest, it's hard to punish right now. Anyways, you want to mine through this, I guess, with Bob's, but not the best thing at the moment. So dogs may catch a glimpse of an imp now. Maybe. But now the Weavers are out. Now this army is starting to get pretty big. This is starting to get pretty scary. We don't have the big bio ball that we need. Not just yet. Barracks are... This wall is starting to get made. More barracks on the way. More production on the way. As a mobs... Or, excuse me, a Lancer's going to rally across. And it's going to scout this. It's gonna, well, no, it's not even. It's going to think maybe this is a drop. I love this, though. On the backside, reinforcements are going to get found by a bunch of Lancers and by a bunch of Hedgehogs. And now this kind of gets Hydra stuck in the middle. Reinforcing units. They're going to get picked off. This army has a ton of burst damage. So Hydra actually has to run back a little bit. He's actually picking up Lancer or picking up Weavers in the Doombringer just to try to make them more mobile, because again, they are not all that mobile whatsoever. The French boy saying that this shows the sadness of Hedgehogs. I'm actually not convinced. I think the Hedgehogs have been pretty solid in this series. You do have to be careful of this timing. The last game, the reason Mixu lost, he lost all of his Hedgehogs by getting a little too greedy into the natural. Hedgehogs. Again, Weavers are light units, and they have 720 HP, 180 white health. I mean, that's a lot. But on the flank, maybe. Meanwhile, drop into the middle, so this base will be denied. And I think the problem is there's not enough... I don't know that there's enough army here to defend this. So, middle base, totally denied. The Lancer, the Exo, totally... Yeah, that's a problem. Fourth base on the way. I think you just give this up. I think you might just give this position up now. Lancers are going to get abducted here. Hedgehogs are going to get abducted. But honestly, with the Bob overcharge... They're fighting down one Weaver pretty quick, pretty easily. The Hedgehogs are starting to burst these out. I mean, it's slow going, but we're starting to see some of the buildings get sold because might as well. You'd rather not lose all the money. And with these overcharges, we're not seeing a ton of Fiend conversions just yet. All these Gaunts are just about dead. It really is at this point turning into these Weavers, which are tanky boys, absolutely. I guess there are some Fiends at the end. Bob's finally getting converted. I think the play really was to just give the position up, buy a little bit more time, to cut down on reinforcements, to kill the middle of the map off, to bring your army together eventually. So right now, Mixu, he has killed the base. Yeah, there are a couple imps right there, but it's really not a ton. And now we have an Atlas. It can start to knock some of these things down. Sky Mine just being dropped because why not? It gives a little bit more vision. But Atlas are going to start to shoot their shots. Oh, Mixu's not paying attention. Not going to be able to keep it alive, and you have to keep these Atlases alive. They are your really solid defensive tool. So the imps are thinking about it, but there's a Sky Mine to just scout the middle to see what's happening. The trick is there's just not a good answer to the Weavers right now. Not a ton of barracks, actually. This is a bio play, remember, right? This was like 4 barracks that were made. This is not really a bio play. And there's not really a lot there. So I think, I mean, there's just not enough barracks. A big scout trip, this would actually be really solid. Now the Vulcan gets abducted on top of things, but that's fine. I got a shield. I'm going to wail away at things, but eventually it will go down. 10% over time is really, really solid. But the Weavers are starting to fall on the front lines. The trick is we don't have enough ranged units, right? There's only 3 Exos. The Vulcans are starting to die. There's really no Atlas. So that is a bit of a problem. These Exos, even without quick draw hustle, are starting to chew through things just a little bit. You got to be careful, though, as the Fiends convert. Another Vulcan's on the field. It's going to get abducted, I think. But you can heal it. You can save it by the evac, and that's the thing. But I think at this point, I think I'm on a little bit of Vanguard copium. I think at this point, this is just... Mixu, his army was not in position. I think he tried to hold onto the third base a little bit too long, and that's not going to work out. So Hydra takes us to game 5. This is a Conclave. Oh, need to update the overlay because I'm bad at what I do. Fine. There we go. Fixed. 2-piece. So, Conclave opening coming out of Hydra. Again, we missed the first 90 seconds or so. That's fine. Conclave expand. It's a command post first into double barracks, Lancer, Mixu. Going back for Old Faithful to build that. Dr. Probe, to talk to other players that have been in chat, they'll say that this is, in fact, a solved build. Lancer, the double Lancer pressure is not as good as it was last week. It has been figured out by Infernal players. Well, we saw, and then we saw immediately afterwards, talking about the show match that Pig cast yesterday. The funny thing is we saw it kind of immediately go win a couple games very quickly. So it's figured out. I don't know, you know. But double Lancer's on the way. Biokinetics lab, of course. You want kinetic redirection. You want to make sure that your units move up to 25% faster. And I do wish that this upgrade would only show when it's done. Although it's kind of hard to check whether the upgrade's there or not. And I'm sure that's going to get added in eventually. But for now, we can see that, yeah, increases the attack and movement speed up to a maximum of 50% if they take 10 shots. So against Gaunts, they are very, very good. Against Brutes, less so, because again, Gaunts, their attack does 6 damage, their splash does even less, which means that, well, you take 3 damage, as this fiend will go down. You take like 3 damage a shot, and yeah, off kinetic redirection. A basic Lancer has 240 HP. Someone want to do the math on how many times you have to apply 3 damage to chunk through 240 HP? The answer is a whole hell of a lot. By the way, the really funny thing about Lancer, like the Lancer-Gaunt interaction, is Lancers, again, they have this attenuation armor. There it is. That means all damage is reduced by 3. They actually don't have any armor. Oh, no, they have 5 armor. Weird. I could have sworn that the data sheet I was looking at said they had 0 armor. I guess that must have changed. Anyway, they have 5 armor apparently. But attenuation armor means that you take your base, whatever damage you take, it doesn't matter where it is reduced by 3. Well, Lancers have 240 HP. So if you talk about Infest, that as we see them not tick down at all, right? They're not taking damage from this because Infest does 1% damage per second. 1% of 240 is 2.4. That's less than 3, so they take 0 damage. It's actually even a little bit less than that because they have 5 armor. That's like a 4% damage reduction. But the funny thing about this is as these Lancers exist on the field a little bit more, as these Lancers go and start to develop themselves and get a veterancy and do everything like that, you'll notice that every veterancy level, they get 48 health. So at level 1 veterancy, they're at 288 HP. At level 2 veterancy, at elites, they're 200 or 326 or something like that. 336 HP. 10% or 1% of 336 HP is 3.36 damage. So as they increase veterancy, they start to take damage off Infest. And granted, it's like 1 damage max, right? It's not a ton, but it is pretty funny that like Lancers against Infest specifically get a little punish for getting better, for keeping themselves alive. It's silly. It's kind of an irrelevant stat anyways, but it is pretty funny. So now the Doombringer drop is out, so Shroud can move forward. They can micro. There's a way for these Gaunts to stay alive in micros now. Well, the Lancers are going to move in. One gets pretty low, but it's going to get kited backwards. And notice, by the way, what Mixu's done. He took the health camp very, very quickly. And what that does is that means that, yeah, you just do this. You run the Lancers back. You get damage done. You put them in the health camp. They heal up pretty quickly, and you go again. Ares Armory Studios asks, where can we find data sheets on Stormgate units? Well, there are a couple places. I think Liquipedia is starting to update things. I am working on, and this is a long-term project. I don't have the time for it necessarily. I'm working on a bunch of other stuff. Stormgate Nexus will eventually have pages for every single unit in the game. We're working on it. Grumpage and I are working on it. I think we have like 1 or 2. It's just a lot of work. And I haven't had time to really work on it because I've been working on other things. So it goes. But eventually Stormgate Nexus will have it. For now, I think Liquipedia has at least some of the unit pages done. I don't know if they have all of them. But now, anyways, Lancers are going to move in. And with this very quick exo timing, by the way, we're only 6 minutes in, and there are a lot of exos. That Shroud Stone's manifested dead immediately. Now, it did gun down one of the exos. And what you have to remember when we're talking about these exo plays, exos are not Marines. Yes, technically they are man with guns, but you got to think of them like ghosts, to quote Probe here. They are expensive. They do a lot of damage. But they are high, like they're not Marines. They're not expendable. Not nearly in the same way as these Lancers. I mean, this is a level 2 Lancer, right? We talked about it. It's actually theoretically taking damage. Yeah, there we go. It's taking damage. See, I was right. The math works. Unfortunate there. But there's no mining out of this natural out of Highdra. It's a bit of a problem. The Shroud Stones keep getting targeted down. He does have mining on the third base, of course, but Mixu on the other side. Totally saturated. Totally saturated. Saturated to the main base as well. And I think this shrine might die. I think, yeah, it's dead. So it's a 2-base Inferno player. Oh, no in-game sound. Sorry about that. Let me fix that one. It'll be fixed right around. I forgot to press the button. In-game sound is going to turn on in about 5 seconds. So this is going to pop up. There we go. Now we have in-game sound. Apologies. Sorry about that. That is fixed. Lancers are just stupid tough. Remember, a Brute does like 30 damage a shot. Yeah, it does 30 damage a shot. So like, Brutes actually do damage to Lancers. The trick is once you have kinetic redirection, technically Lancers should never get hit by Brutes. This is kind of the problem. As all these Shroudstones are going to go down, this is, I mean, Hydra's in desperation mode right now. He really doesn't want to lose this game. If he loses, he's out of the tournament. But this Weaver is exposed as all hell, and it's not even worth, it doesn't do a ton of damage against most of these units. And yeah, we're going to see a Nightfall Infestation, but again, these units are not level 2, so the Infest doesn't do anything to them. Left side unit's going to go down, the Weaver's going to fall. Tons of meat farms, I guess, for the Fellhogs, I don't know. But Highdra says, good game, well played, good luck in the finals. It's going to be Mixu, it's going to be Theory in our grand finals. Best of 7. Theory, of course, 1 map advantage.